Hi everyone. As I was trying to decide what to post this week, I decided to post another journal entry. This one is a hard one. The one that I'm going to post in the comments is an entry from November of 2009. And it's when I left him the first time. Just to give you kind of a backstory on that entry, I just wanted to explain what led up to that day. And at that point, we had a 2-year-old son and a 1-year-old son. He was almost 2. And we had about a 6-month-old baby girl as well. A few months ago, before the entry, I had found out that he had relapsed again, multiple times. That day was in August, and we were driving home from Springville, and where we were living in Layton, Utah, and I don't know, just something gave me something told me I needed to check my bank account. And I had suspicions. He was staying longer at work. He was disappearing. I'd go over to my parents' house, and he'd always say he has to go get a drink, or he needs to go make a phone call, or he needs to go run somewhere, or needs to run home. And it was kind of the same pattern that he used to do when he was using before. And this day, I just had a gut feeling that I needed to check my bank account. And we were in the car, and our 2 kids were in the back, and I checked it, and it had all of these transactions. And I'm not one to check my account all the time. I wasn't working, and I never been one to really care about our finances as far as where money's going. As long as bills are getting paid, I never cared. So he was getting away with it for a long time. I had seen all of these transactions months in advance of like ATM withdrawals, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and then all these Target transactions that he had made, but nothing to show for it. What is he buying at Target that I wouldn't know? And so I finally turned to him and I said, "What's going on? Why are all these transactions? What's happening?" And he said, "I don't know, it's stuff I needed for work, it's stuff I needed for this, or I needed that." And he just made up all these lies, of course, and then finally he just went, "Okay, I bought drugs." And I don't know at what point he just decided to tell me the truth, but then he decided to tell me everything that he had been using for months and months and months and months, and that whenever we'd come home, when we were living in California, and every time we come back to Utah, he'd use. And it was a consistent thing that he had never been 100% clean. And at this point, I thought he had been clean for a couple of years at least. And this was devastating. And of course, I lost it. I freaked out. I started screaming. I said a lot of things I wouldn't normally say, to the point that my oldest was crying and screaming in the back because he was scared of me and how much I was screaming. At one point in the argument, I told him I wanted a divorce for the 30th time. I mean, I had said that so many times before. And he told me to calm down and that we'd talk about it when we got home. And I just remember feeling completely devastated. Like my heart just shattered. And I felt like my life had completely fallen apart. Again, I thought we had been over this. I thought we had done this. And I thought I was finally in the clear. I thought things were finally getting better. They weren't. Obviously. When we got home, he asked me to talk to my brother, who he is really good friends with. They're best friends. He said, please call your brother. And apparently my brother had known for a while. And so he calmed me down and in a way made me feel a little bit better, enough to go in and talk to Tom. And I remember we sat on the couch and we talked, and he said that he would get better. He showed me all the numbers in his phone and from all the people that he had gotten drugs from, and he was deleting them in front of me. He made a phone call to the family therapy because at this point he's in the Marine Corps. And so he said, I'm going to go to the family therapy that they offer through the Marine Corps. And I was like, that's great. Yeah. And he was telling me all these things that he was going to do to get better. And enough to keep me around a little bit longer. It's exactly what I wanted to hear. And he was good at telling me exactly what I wanted to hear. I do remember thinking, we have 2 kids. We've been married for it's been, at this point, it had been 4 years. I said, you're in the Marine Corps. I remember thinking all these things, and you want to do drugs? You have everything at your fingertips. We are financially stable. We have 2 beautiful children. I'm able to stay home. You like your job, and you still choose to do drugs? I remember thinking, this is not the man I married. Who is this guy? I thought, what a loser. I am married to a loser. He's selfish. That's all he cares about. He's no longer the man I married. He's a drug addict. He only cares about himself. Of course he's going to do whatever it takes to get his drugs. He doesn't care what lies he has to tell or how far of lies that he needs to tell them. He doesn't care who it hurts as long as he gets what he needs. There's a little part in my journal that I wanted to read. Let's see, where is it? I said, I so badly want to run away with the kids and get on with my life. But I'm not one to give up on a marriage. So I'm giving him a chance to get back on track. It makes me laugh because I gave him so many chances to get back on track. Reading that just blows my mind that that's really what I thought I was doing. I decided, okay, he's telling me all these things. It's exactly what I want to hear, so I want to believe him. I want things to get better. 2 months later, I left him for the first time. And obviously things didn't get better. They got worse and worse and worse. In the entry that I'm posting below, it explains what I did when I left him, the night that I left him. I wrote that the night that I left. And it's really hard for me to read. Because, like I said, it was the first time. It wasn't the last time. It was the first time I left him. I tried same things over and over and over again. I give him lots of chances. And nothing changed. It wasn't good enough. I felt like I wasn't good enough. My kids weren't good enough. What was going to make him get clean? What was going to make him choose us over drugs? I thought leaving him was going to give him a little bit of an eye-opener on what it would be like to not have us in his life. It wasn't until years later that he figured it out. When I decided to leave for me and not to get him back. It wasn't until I decided to do what I needed to do to be there for my kids, to control my life, and most of all, to be happy. Who would have thought? I wish somebody would have told me that a lot earlier, that doing what I needed to do for me and my kids, that would lead to helping the man I loved, who was so deep in addiction, pull him out of it. Who knew?